Hey everybody, Steve here with Printavo, and in this video, we're going to show you the basics of how to build a quote using Printavo's quote building tool. Now, to get to the page that I'm on, all I did was click this button at the top here that says plus quote, add a new quote, right? And that's going to allow us to build a quote from scratch. Now, you can duplicate quotes, previous quotes for new jobs. You can build quotes from customer profiles, but ultimately that's going to take you to some version of this page. So this is the starting blank slate version of the new quote page. So first thing I want to do is add my customer. Now, if my customer is already in my database, I can use my pull down menu to scroll through and search for them if they're maybe recently used, or if I want to search for somebody specifically, I can search by name, I can search by company. It's pretty flexible. But what's nice is once you find the customer you're looking for, you simply select the customer and we'll autofill their relevant information that we have stored on their customer profile. So billing address, shipping address, any notes that we have about them. If, say, somebody walks through the door who's not in your system, brand new customer, you'd like to build them a quote on the fly, you can use this new customer button here to build a customer profile for that individual or for that group, and then they will be added to your database for easier job builds in the future. Now I want to direct your attention to this gray box over here on the right, where we'll cover a couple of relevant fields. First things first is the job owner. Now this is going to be your Printavo user who's responsible for the job. To add Printavo users, you'll simply head into My Account and then just scroll down to your users where you can add users and set permissions, right? Once you have users in your system, you'll be able to assign them to jobs. Next, you have your delivery method. So how is this getting to the customer? Is it, pickup, shipping, some specific delivery method or some specific shipping method? You set up the options that you offer to do that, right? And also, if you don't see this here, it just means you need to set up delivery methods. And again, to do that, you'll simply go to My Account, and we'll just click on this button that says Invoice Information here. And once this loads up, you just scroll to the bottom and you'll see you can add any delivery method that you'd like. And again, once that's saved in your system, you'll be able to select delivery methods on your quote. Moving on to some relevant dates here, we have a couple of due dates to start. We have our production due date and customer due date. Now, production due date is an internal date. Anytime you see the word production, you'll know that that's an internal field or an internal feature. Customers won't see that. But the production due date is going to be the date where this job appears on your calendar. If you move the date on your calendar, if you move the job on your calendar and drag it from day to day, this will automatically change so you don't have to come in here. But to establish where it shows up on your calendar, you can just pick that production due date. Now, the customer due date is customer facing. This is that in-hands date for your customer. So perhaps this is maybe a week out or just really whatever date you folks agreed upon. The invoice date will default to the current date. Perhaps it's associated with your customer due date, or perhaps you have net terms. Right now, with the net terms, every tier can have net terms on their available to them. Right, you set up the terms that you offer and how much to calculate. That's done on the same page, actually, where you select your delivery methods. Just above, you can set up as many payment terms as you like. And again, once they're in the system, they'll become available to you here, and those payment terms will automatically add on to the invoice date. Now, this defaulted in this case to net 15 because on John Doe from Acme Productions customer profile, we've assigned the fact that he always gets 15 days, right? He has that net 15 associated with his profile. So that will automatically load up and you'll see 6 plus 15 days is August 21st. Now, let's say, in this case, I want to give them net 30. We'll calculate the 30 days. If you can, again, create anything you'd like there to add into your system. Now, moving on, we have a couple more fields over here, a nickname, customer notes, and production notes. Now, the nickname is going to be just whatever you want to call the job. It's how you and your customer are going to refer to the job. It shows up on your calendar. It shows up on the invoice, so it is customer facing. But typically, it's just a basic description of the job. Right? Maybe company, picnic, polos. Now, customer notes, you can put really whatever you'd like here. These are public facing. So typically what we see is, maybe like pickup information. When you come pick up your job, use the door on the right and ask for Gene, or things of that nature. Or, acknowledgments. I always suggest that people put acknowledgments here. And what I mean by that is, excuse me, if a customer is super specific about how they want something to look, or the spelling of something, or the color of something, put that here. It gives the customer peace of mind that you heard them. You're going to be doing it anyway because you're doing your best work at all times, right? It's just a helpful little customer service tip. Next, you have your production notes. Again, it's got the word production in the field, so this is going to be internally facing only. I'll just put internal notes here. And again, the customer will not see this field ever unless they happen to be in the very specific circumstance where they're looking over your shoulder while you're looking at their job, logged into their Printavo account, right? So it's for the shop size only. Now, what's nice about the notes and the customer notes and the production notes is that these will carry over from duplication to duplication. So if you took some important production notes about how you flashed something or how long you did this or whatever, when you duplicate this job, these notes come over on the duplication, so you don't have to go through and think about it and type it out every single time. So now let's look at our line item group and add our products. Now you'll see here, there's just a single line item by default on the page, but this, you can add as many line items as you'd like to a line item group. And the idea behind a line item group is that it's going to give you, you can add as many products to a line item group as you want. And then what shops will do is create groups based on the design. So if you're printing a single design on, maybe some hoodies, a t-shirt, in this case, polo shirts, right? You can put all of those in a single line item group and make sure you're getting your appropriate quantity breaks for the type of work that you're doing. And again, if you want to create more line item groups, if you're doing perhaps, a bunch of stuff, a bunch of garments, and then maybe a slightly different decoration on like water bottles or tote bags, because, it's a company outing, then you can create new line item groups for that to create separate quantity groupings for quantity-based pricing. But we'll just focus on this one for now. So let's go ahead and let's grab a 5017 in purple. And you'll see what I've done here is I've just used this description field and I typed the terms 5017 purple. And I had two results come up. I had this one for a top result from S&S Activewear and this bottom result from TSC Apparel. Now, what I did was, like I said, I just used these specific search terms, 5017 purple. But what Printavo is doing at this point is it's searching two places. Number one, it's searching the product catalogs that you have synced up. And to do that, right, I just went into my account. I opened it in a new tab so I wouldn't, lose any of the work that we've covered. And if I just scroll down toward the bottom, I can click product catalogs here, or I can just continue scrolling to the bottom. You'll see that Printavo integrates with four different mainstream catalogs. We have Alpha Broder, S&S Activewear, Sanmar, and TSC Apparel. Now, premium tier subscribers can connect their account-specific pricing for S&S Activewear and TSC Apparel, but all tiers of subscription and service can connect to all four of these catalogs. So when I type 5017 purple, one place for searching are our connected catalogs. Right? And just to add on to that, we do pull the products and pricing from these catalogs on a daily basis. Now, the other place that we're searching are our custom products, right? Because you can create and add custom products. So you'll see we have a fair amount in our system here, but maybe you have business cards, or some shops will create different fee types as custom products just so they can stand out in the line items versus in the fee description. That's an option. But the ultimate point here is you can use that description field to search. Let's say I want to do purple polo, right? I can be a little more generic and we'll get more search results, right? But if I know specifically I want the 5017 in purple and I want it from S&S Activewear, then I can search for those terms, highlight the product, and then select it. Now, I do want to stress it's very important that I actually select the product so that it autofills the line item. But by selecting the product, not only are we autofilling the rest of the relevant information, but we're assigning a price to the product on the back end. So when we, in a few moments, run our pricing matrices to price these out, we have an associated price to calculate, right? We're not just calculating vague text in a box with a zero price and undercharging your customer. So again, you want to make sure that you search for and select your product. So now I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to add just a couple of sizes or quantities to my sizes here. Let's just say we're doing 12 small, 12 medium, 12 large for this example. All right. And if I want to price these out, I have two different options. Now, number one, I can go ahead and maybe this is a friend of mine. I'm giving them $5 a shirt, right? I can just manually put the number 5 in there. And you'll see, 36 times 5, 180. We do the math. You're good to go. Now, if you want to make sure everyone in the shop is pricing out consistently based on the amount of work that you're doing and the type of work that you're doing, then what you want to do is utilize Printavo's pricing matrices. And these are set up under My Account and then Pricing Matrices. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click this button here that says Imprint. And again, just to reiterate the point, every line item group is associated with one imprint or one design. Right now, you can have multiple imprints for multiple locations, and you can add multiple images. But the point is that the pricing matrix and the tech packs that I upload to this particular section will be associated with the above line item group. Now, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to select a matrix. Let's say I have a 3-color front on this one, and maybe a 2-color back. And I apologize, my screen share software doesn't share my pull-down menus. But what I'm doing is I'm selecting any one of my pricing matrices I have under My Account, and then I'm selecting the delineator or the column. So again, we're pricing out for that 3-color front, 1-color back. And as I add those imprint boxes, they'll show up here so you can keep track of the information that you've added. Typically, you'll see shops add, the Pantone information, maybe the location info, mesh count, things of that nature, right? But the relevant piece here is what is, I'm going to close out this box, right? And you'll see that this price box here turned yellow. And that means that something happened to this line item that's going to impact the price. In this case, we said, hey, let's get ready to use our pricing matrices, that screen printing pricing matrix. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to click this refresh pricing button, and then we just ran the following formula. I'm going to type this up here in the production notes box. We took the cost of the garment, we added on your markup, as well as your production cost. Right. Now, this markup and production cost, you calculate, or rather you record in your pricing matrices. The garment cost is why it's so important to select that product. Because again, if you don't actively select a product, your garment cost will be 0. 0 times anything is 0. And then you're just adding your production costs and severely undercharging your customer. You'll also see you can modify the markup once a pricing matrix has been applied. So if I want to take this markup down from 170 or from 70% down to 60%, then I can just go ahead, type 160 instead of 170. You'll see my price box highlighted because I need to refresh my pricing. And then we just reran that the formula with the garment cost, of course, included. If you hover over the info circle, and once again, I apologize, hovers don't share in my in this particular screen share software, but what it's going to do is it's going to give you the individual numbers of the garment costs, the markup, the production costs of delineators from your pricing matrices, so you can see exactly how that cost was broken down. Now, when I'm done, right, you can add categories as well, just to help keep things organized. Maybe this is your screen printing group. You have an embroidery group. Categories are also created under My Account. But when I'm done, I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to click Save. And now we have an invoice or a quote ready to show our customer. Now, just to review quickly, you'll see, we have our production notes up here. That is that internal information, right? Here's the the customer facing information, basically this white box here. is a fairly accurate summary of what the customer is going to see. You'll see you have your pricing summary here. Once again, not visible to the customers, your imprint information. Also visible to you here. If you would ever like to see exactly what the customer is seeing, then you can head to the More Actions tab on the job and then click on this button that says Public Invoice View. And that's going to give you a live look of what the customer would be seeing if they were looking at the job at this very moment. So as you practice using Printavo and you're adding information and taking information away and you want to see what it looks like to a customer, you can always use and refresh that public profile, that public invoice view page so you can, get an idea of the customer's experience. Now, that covers the very, very basics of how to build a quote in Printavo. If you have more specific questions or you just like to learn more, please don't hesitate to reach out to your dedicated success manager. If you're not sure who that is, you can reach out to us at success, SUCCESS, at printavo.com. If you're not yet a Printavo customer and you'd like to perhaps have a one-on-one demo or just learn more about the product, please reach out to us at sales@printavo.com and we'd be happy to connect with you. Okay, thank you so much for your time. We'll see you soon.